Okay, folks, welcome out. We're going to be making a video today of a new install on the motorcycle. Let's take a look at what we're putting on. This is it. You've been waiting for this, right, Srkcycles? We've been waiting for this. And it's going to go over here onto Jade. Now, what we're doing is slip-ons instead of the full exhaust system because we're going to be adding a 131 engine which comes with a 131 header. I don't see the need to replace the header at this time. But a word of concern of mine is that, again, we're having a little bit of wind, so when I step out here to the bike to work on it, it's going to be very windy. So the rest of the video that we're going to be outside is going to have to have a voiceover to block out some of the wind noise. So let's start. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to have to do is take off these saddlebags. If you open them up, you're going to see these two bolts in here, these two handles. And if you play with it just a little bit, you'll see that they easily turn in one direction as opposed to the other. That is the direction that you're going to have to twist off these retainers. So just spin them off like that. The saddlebag will be sitting on a bar underneath, but you want to be able to provide support as you're undoing this so they don't just drop off. That would destroy your paint job. So let's lift it on out and go put it on something soft that we have set aside to hold it. Hey, my buddy Shifting State has installed the Vance Hines 450 slip-ons. See the link in the description below to check out his exhaust. One thing I wanted to point out was down here on this side, you have the preload adjuster. Dials on this end, and you'll see up there in the white the measurement ruler, so you can set your preload. Now, let's take a look at the stuff that's going to be put on. These things come packed extremely well. You're going to get 3 boxes. The 2 long boxes will contain our exhaust tubes, and then the small box will contain the extra parts and connectors that we're going to need for this install. Let's open this up here real quick and see what we got inside. And of course, as you can see, my assistant is very active in giving a hand. She is super excited to see what's in the boxes. In our house, every box that comes is hers and somebody else's. So in this case, this was my and her surprise that came in this box. And she is just anxious to see what this is going to look like. That nervous dance. Okay. And here's what our exhaust looks like. Now, these are heavier than the stock exhaust that come off. I would say just roughly about 50% more weight, but they look great. The fit and finish is amazing. This will be my 3rd application of high output slip-ons, my 3rd bike with this style of Vance Hines slip-on, and I am dying to see what it's going to sound like. Oh, let's get Srkcycles to help us open this box here. We are in the process of learning knife control. But going back to what I was saying about the slip-ons, this is my 3rd set. Now, the other 2 sets, one was on a Sportster, it was a small can, and then I had dual small cans on the Fat Bob that I traded in here for this Road King. So these are longer. And apparently, from what I've heard, have a much deeper sound than even the ones that I'm used to. So we are going to be testing that out. And coming up here, as you can see while I'm looking at the instructions, Srkcycles appears to be very interested in taking out these parts. But that's not exactly what's going on. See, she has this childhood love of bubble wrap. And she is doing everything that she can to encourage me to free up that bubble wrap. That is her favorite part of the packaging. Okay. There's just telling her we'll get her the extra bubble wrap later on. Now, these are the bolts that we're going to have to remove on the stock exhaust. We have 3. Those 2 over there, and then there's one hidden right down here that is a different size. Now, something to note is that on this side, on the right-hand side of the bike, you have a bigger connector and a bigger, thicker exhaust tube. I believe it's 2.5 inches or 3.5 inches, and the other side is 1 inch, if I remember right, thinner. So the connectors, the circle clamps that go on each side is specific to that side and very easy to determine. We're going to take off right here one of the back bolts. Then we're going to go up to the front bolt and we're going to remove that next. After that one's off, we'll come back to the rear bolt. This one proved to be a bit tricky. And it was on like nobody's business. It took a tremendous amount of force there to get this one loose. We're going to wrestle with this for a few moments. And there's the secret weapon, WD-40. That is one of the most useful tools that I have in my shop. Okay, back up.
Hi guys.
Okay, back up.
Hey guys.
It needs to see what I'm doing here, babe.
Hi guys. I'm working on the bike. How are you doing? Don't get my hands in there, Dad.
It's very difficult right now.
Don't get my hands under there.
Okay, after multiple applications of the WD-40, we are starting to make progress down here. Now, once that's off, we're going to come up to the other side and we're going to remove that final bolt. Those guys aren't on super tight, so they're much easier to deal with, but it is a little bit surprising how small they are. I expected a longer bolt than these two actually were. Let's pull this guy off. Quite a bit of tugging. This side actually took a little bit more force to get off than on the other side of the bike. Okay, let's try it from this angle. Pull, pull, pull. And it starts to come out now. Here we go. Ta-da! Okay, now here's an interesting thing. We're going to remove this bracket by pounding it out with the hammer. It just slides right out of a rubber grommet. If you need to, take a screwdriver and insert it in one of those holes and pull the remaining way, and it will come right out. Like so. Okay, now this rubber grommet here presents a bit of a challenge, especially if your bike is as new as mine. We have about 700 miles on it at this point. So trying to work in the support bracket is pretty intense. So what I've done is I've learned a little trick from a friend, and I took the grommet inside, put it in a cup of water, and then heated it up about 45 seconds to make it soft. Then I came back, put it on the bike, sprayed a little WD-40, and the bracket will slide right in. And as the grommet cools, it will reharden. Now that bracket's in, we're going to slip in the new exhaust tip, the new slip-on. Pay attention right here. This little double bolt, or this little extender, goes on the inside to catch the screws that comes through the plate into the exhaust bracket, and then it'll go into that little connector down there. Well, I'm going to change the angle so you can actually see the screw going in here in just a quick second. Nice and snug. There we go. Now, you'll see the connector on the inside of that bracket there, and you just put the screw through, or the bolt through, and tighten it up here. Get one a little bit going, put the second one in. Just make sure that that pipe is snug and comfy as you finger tighten these. And then work in your tool to tighten them the rest of the way down. On this side of the bike, there's not as much room to play with these between the tire and the bracket. There's a little bit more room on the other side that accommodates for the drive mechanism that's on that side of the bike. Make sure these are on nice and tight. Once we get those on, come back and put on the new clamp, angling it to the back just to hide that connector as much as possible. We're going to tighten it a bit here, and then we're going to move it back to the back angle. There you go. That way it keeps it out of sight when you're looking at the bike from the side. Let's quickly compare the appearance of the two pipes. You'll see the stock pipe versus the new Vance Hines. I really like the appearance of the Vance Hines side. Now, here we have both of them installed on the bike without the bags. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful. They sound amazing. Guys, please help me out and hit that subscribe and like button. It makes a huge difference.